Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right, guys. So lot happening today. It was a crazy day. There's so many opportunities, so many trades. We have a couple of losers, but mostly a huge day for everybody in the community. Lot to recap today, so we will go through one by one. So, a lot to recap. Before I start, just a quick introduction to anybody who's uh, new to my community, new to my Twitter, or new to my YouTube. All these trading recaps and all these teachings are mostly from our trading community. We trade repeatable setup, repeatable system. My trading system, thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently and make profits in the market. We have repeatable setups. System is how you trade. Setups is what you trade. Just like I show you in all my previous videos. You can watch my more than 500 recaps from past 1 year. You can go and see that we do the same thing every day if you are my regular viewer. Anyways, so we have our game plan every day. This was our game plan based upon our support pivot and resistance pivots. Then we have our daily levels that we use to trade SPY, QQQ, IWM, Apple, Microsoft, AMD, and all those names using Ripster clouds and these levels to trade consistently. We provide this to our traders and community every morning. So we also have something called our day 2, day 3 setups. That strategy that I invented. I did a free webinar on that as well. There's a webinar in community about that as well. If you have been watching me for a while, you know this strategy that I have covered this strategy many times. So we provide all this information, the pre-market, to our community members. Then I'm on the voice mostly for first few hours. Then if needed, I'm on the voice for most of the day, guiding the traders through the trade ideas. I also share a lot of my comments and my trade guidance on my floor alerts tab, in which I will show you my timestamp guidance. And then we have our trading floor where we have hundreds of traders sharing ideas all day. Then we have a lot of scanners, option scanners, stock scanners, news bots. Our community is one-stop shop. We have tools which are worth $500-600 a month, which are free in our community. So that's where we do it. Of course, I also share a lot of guidance on Twitter as well, step by step. And so yeah, that's introduction. Let's start with the first play. So I'm going to go a little fast today. There's a lot to cover, so make sure you can pause the screen or you slow the things up if you don't get it. So let's see what we were doing with the SPY and QQQQ. This first candle is an amateur candle. You see right here. So we were short on that amateur candle. If I show you, I said short right at open, short the amateur move right at 931. So we were short, right? So this first 10-15 minutes. So you see that we are started to cover as we've hit pushing our 578 targets. So our system says we are short. We have these MTF clouds which tells us short. We have this 512 Ripster cloud that says short. We are short, and then it starts to bounce. At that time we are still not really long. I mean, you can long that, but that's not my repeatable setup. We cover our shorts right here when support tries to reclaim. You can see my timestamp guidance. As soon as we start to push over at 10 a.m., that's my 10 a.m. repeatable concepts. That's when I say cut any shorts over 512s. I said that at 9:45s. Then I said long SPY QQQ right here at 10 a.m. This is a 10 a.m. long. Stops under the cloud. You mean the stops is right under here, right? And from there on, we were long all day. Our first long target was 581 right here, and this was our first long. Our calls went 60, 70, 80% there on that first run. Then SPY pulls back, consolidates. You see this consolidation pattern. That's a breakout pattern, and that's a breakout pattern right here. And then you add more on these. You see this level 580.50. That was the level I told in the community that this is the level which is buyers are holding. So you see this up down, and then breakout, and then you trade that. Either you hold your morning calls or you sell here, add here, and hold them all the way up. Same thing for QQQ, all day guidance. You can see here, we just riding the system. QQQ never broke 512s, never broke 512s, just dipped a little bit, reclaimed, and continued to push again. So that's how, was a profitable trades on SPY QQQ. Important thing to note here is few concepts. We were shorting the amateur move first 10-15 minutes. We covered when we saw that market is about to bounce. You can still see here, stop, cut any shorts, and we were also using our VIX strategy, right? If you don't know my VIX strategy, go on my website, ripstereducation.com. You can study about our VIX strategy, what we talk about there. So all these concepts come together for us to make money in the market on SPY QQQ long. Pretty easy, pretty clear. The calls by end of the day went more than 150%. Of QQQ calls went 200%, 0 DTE. So yes, so that was SPY QQQ. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to cover is Boeing BA. So let's see, what was the plan on BA? Why were we trading Boeing long today? So what was going on with Boeing here? Let's look here. All right, so let's open our time-stepped comments here. You can see I said Boeing long at 947, but even before that, we had our pre-market planning that I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to show you how we change the buys, right? So Boeing was selling 21 billion shares. It's usually very bearish, but in case of Boeing, I guess their shortage of the money problem is getting solved. So buyers came in, investors came in, they wanted to buy it. So our two pivots levels, 146, 25, and 150. If the pops, we will short versus 150, right? So what happens here? There's no rejection at 150, and the 150 is over the clouds. So this means I'm long here. It's no longer a short. It's over our clouds. It's over the 150. That's when I told everybody 512 long, 153 first target. We met that right into their MTF 1 hour clouds, or MTF Ripster 1 hour clouds. These are my indicators that I made. That works on our system. Then right into MTF daily 2021 EMA clouds. So all the targets match. You can see that 512 long from 947 all the way to right here. You could trade calls, you could trade shares, and you long here, your stops are right under here, 60, 70, 80 cents stops. You are making $4. That's 1:4 reward. Beautiful trade. That was Boeing. Let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to cover is CDNS. So let's see what was happening with CDNS, right? So let's go back and see here our planning on CDNS. Let's see here. Okay. So CDNS, bullish bias over MTF cloud. So that was our plan. You can see that earnings, and that was our support resistance, level resistance pivots, bullish bias over MTF clouds. So that was our plan on CDNS. And as soon as I saw that we are pushing higher, that's when I said long. This first candle tells me it's a long. It's trying to break out. But this is an amateur candle. So that's why I said keep eyes on the pullback. So it pulls back here, 512 calls. That's where you buy it. Your stops right under these EMA clouds. And then you ride it all day. The first target was 282. Next target was 282 met. Next target was 285, and 285 target also met by end of the day. Beautiful trade. Very easy setup. Nothing crazy. Even if you had 100 shares, you risked $300-400, you made $1,000 to $1,200. So that's the kind of trade you do. If it broke here, we would have stopped out. I will show you another trade which didn't work. Let's go to the next one. So I just told you the trade that worked, but there's another trade that did not really work in the same way, but we managed our loss. So we were long on FFIV. You see, it was confirming the longs, and we were adding these pullbacks, and it was bouncing a little bit from 244 to 248, $3-4. But then it broke 512s, and that's where we cut. And then you can short that. That's a 512 short setup, right, to 34.50s. So we cut here, not much damage. But if you want to short it, you can short it and cover your losses from the longs right there. So that's how you manage the losing trades. I just showed you a CDNS that was a long trade, and then FFIV, which kind of did not work. So compare those two, you will learn, right, how to trade these setups. Let's go to the next one. So let's talk about DJT for a moment. DJT, I have been talking in the community that it's catalyst trade into Trump elections, right? So we are basically, it's going to push to $50. I've been talking about it since we turned bullish on 1 hour MTF clouds. You can see that dipped below, regained 1 hour MTF clouds, continue to push. I was, personally not swinging it, but I was guiding a lot of traders in the community who are swinging it. You just need to swing lottos on this. Even if you swing 500 lotto, that becomes 2,000. So anyways, today was a big gap on DJT. So what I told everyone that there will be profit taking at the open, no longs under 34.50. That's what we break. And profit taking right into the MTF clouds, right? So you short it, you make $6-7 on the short, and then it's MTF bounce, fill the gap, right? You fill the gap, actually fill the gap and went lower, but you can still trade this using the gap fill, using your gap fill as your risk right here, and you can long it. It was a nice long scalp, so you could trade both sides. So that was my guidance in the community on DJT today, and it was on our game plan as well in the pre-market. All right, let's talk about AMD today. AMD was a huge winner for us before the earning tanks, but we don't gamble in the earnings. I teach not to gamble in the earnings. I only said that if you made, let's say you made $4,000 today, you can risk $500-600 in the earnings with the options, and that doesn't hurt, right? You're still profitable. So anyways, we'll discuss AMD later, the after hours action later, but let's look here what we are looking at. AMD move today. Okay, so initially AMD was bearish, the amateur candle, but as the market turned bullish, just like you see here on the top, when market was turning bullish, so AMD was turning bullish, that's when I told everyone turn bullish versus 160.50. 160.50 is your stop, and that's the long setup, and that's how we were long in the community all the way, and we were doing pretty good until that AVGO news hit and it dipped below. I personally stopped out there, but you can pause the screen and read my guidance here. Most of my guidance is on the voice. But when something dips under 512 cloud, I was hoping I could buy it back right here, but it reclaimed 512 clouds. So this is a great rule to learn. When a 512 cloud dips, reclaims, it's even more bullish. This happens always, right? Mostly, right? So you can use that. All my traders in my community know this rule. So a lot of traders got back long on AMD, and I continue to guide them with that AMD trade, with the targets that we are going to go higher. You can see that 512 reclaims, we'll see higher as 512 holds, and that's what AMD did. Held all the way up. So beautiful winner on the community today. We started right here. You can see the timestamp guidance here up top, and we started right at 10 a.m. same time we long the market. So that's why it was a high probability trade. So nice trade there. Let's go to the next one. So Google was another one. I didn't guide too much on Google, but a lot of traders were trading it. My focus was AMD, but I just want to show you that. But Google is our long-term swing. If I show you that in our where is our swing tracker? I'm just trying to find it here. So Google has been our swing from $150. So I told them to hold that because we have a lot of buffer, right? We have $19 buffer, and Google is doing pretty good after hours. But what I'm trying to talk about here is the Google run-up trade intraday. The levels were provided right here on the Google to long over 167.89 and 169, and then you can see that once it breaks that level, it continues to push all day higher. What a nice little trade, few bucks. Next one we're going to talk about is SOFI. SOFI, we were short in the morning in the amateur move. You can see that short amateur move. I gave the target of 975, and we did hit close to that 975 because there was an MTF cloud right under there. When I saw these two candles coming up, I told everyone that covered that, scale out of the puts, and then I was talking on the voice that we will push to 1040s, which is like a C minus. I call it a C minus long. We're going to push into in 1040s and pushed, and the 10 calls went like 70-80%, small account trades. But you can see that, right? SOFI, the use of this MTF cloud help you cover your shorts and long scalp into that 1040, and then it pulled back. 10 was still the level. You see the importance of 10 psychological level, and then bounced. There's not really any specific trade after that personally for me, but this is my guidance here. You can see that, but you see how you manage your bias here. You don't have to long right away. No way. You do not long it here. Under the clouds, heavy, you wait. There's no 512 calls there. So that was SOFI for us. So Tesla was bearish today, and my guidance was not to long it, right? My guidance on Tesla was not to long it. That versus MTF, we will watch it. It was trying to hold, but then it broke. That's when I said, do not long it. We can watch it if it holds up, but you see that it failed the curls right here on the clouds and then faded all day. I even tweeted about it, that we can see lower, right? So, and then there was a long that we try to long it end of the day right here. You see the long setup, but that even didn't really give too much. So it was a break even out when it pulled back under the clouds here. So let's talk about the another trade we did today was Lily. Lily was a loser in the morning, because it didn't really hold any cloud. I gave the long in the morning versus 898. So when it pulled back, you add, but it went choppy, 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 choppy. So you see that it did not go anywhere, and it was a loser for us in the community. So let's look at next one. So next one I'm going to talk about is Pfizer. Pfizer was a short in the community today, as I mentioned it once in the morning, and we can look at our. Let's see if we can look at our game plan. So Pfizer, our game plan was, let's see where it is, right here, short under 29, long over it. So that was the plan on Pfizer, short under 29, long over it. So Pfizer was a short under 29. You see this 29 breaking down there, that's it. There's no long. You just find opportunity to short it. You can short it here. You can short this bounce on the 1 hour MTF clouds. Short it, make money on the options, and you get out when it reclaims 512. All right, let's look at another one today, VFC. So VFC was a long setup for us in the morning. It did hit our target, so it was a confirmed long once it reclaimed these clouds, right? If you go back and see the levels on VFC, let's see here. Cautious 512 fails, neutral bias, but once it pulled back and it pushed right back up, that was a long, right? So you could scalp that long anywhere here. I mentioned at 943s, but there was target was 22. We did push, and we pushed close to 22, and then it came back, and then you stop out rest of it. Nothing crazy, but it could easily broken out of 22 and pushed higher. But it's a low ATR stock, right? It's 77 ATR stock, 77 cents. So that was the expected move on that one, regardless, because of the low ATR. So let's look at PayPal. So PayPal today was short in the morning. It was a short. Then it held up. Then it held up. So short was kind of a loser for us, but then the 512 calls were decent. A lot of traders traded in the community right into 34.50. So there was a short loser there, and then 512 call long. So there was another trade today in the community that was Boot, another earning plays. It was a short right out of the gate. I was targeting more, didn't get a whole lot of it. Let's look here. Bearish buys to short the pops, right? So that was our plan on Boot. Bearish buys to short the pops. You can see there. So as soon as I started to see the weakness under the pre-market lows, that was a confirmed short right there. And then it faded. 127 was my first target. We hit 127. Then we even hit 126s. From the short at the open versus this level. Even if you took a short at 134, 135, even if you took at 131, that was a good trade on the short side. Better short with the shares than the options. Tried to call, failed, but we were done with it when it kind of did this double bottom bounce here. So another one we're going to discuss today is CROX. CROX personally didn't do anything on it, but it was short most of the time, and then it went up, rejected, short, and sideways. It was just a waste of time. Nothing special there on the CROX. It was like, it had if I expand it, there was enough room to short it on the pops, but then it went sideways. All right, let's look at TMDX. TMDX, we were short, but it didn't really, if you look at it, I was expecting bigger flush. So I was short right at the open. I told everybody to short. Flush to 86. The pre-market lows held. Important thing to learn here, that pre-market lows held. Try to bounce, fade back again, try to push, fade back again. And once it bounces here, then you should finally get out. You see that where it's finally trying to bounce. It's not even a long, but the short is not going to work because it's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down. You can see these candles, right? So I kept talking about PM lows, PM lows, PM lows. So definitely it was decent short, like, you get from 90 bucks or something, and, made $3-4 if you held irrespective of the Ripster clouds. So AVGO was another long in the community today. AVGO, we were already long in the AVGO. I had mentioned in the morning in the community. You see that the levels on AVGO 170 to 70, 173. So MTF cloud breakout long, then this breakout. So when this breakout hit, there was a news on AVGO, and that's when I gave a target of 172.40. It hit that one target, first target on the daily. I was supposed to give 178.40 here, and then it held the 512s and rallied all day. That was our news bot. The news came on AVGO in middle of the day, and that really pushed AVGO really hard all day long. Let's look at another one, DHI. So DHI was, it never really confirmed the short side because it didn't give you any lower lows or lower highs. So it actually gave a 512 longs right here, and then it pushed higher. I think few traders were trading that. So next one we're going to look at is PRCT. So PRCT was a day too long. It had an earning yesterday. It was our number one day to set up 86, 86, 80, 86 support, 88 resistance pivot. As soon as we break the resistance pivot, it's a long, and you can see that. I mean, there's so many opportunities in the market. I'm just trying to show you the different setups that you can trade. I think RGB was trading this setup in the community on PRCT. Really did good there on PRCT. Yeah. Really good on PRCT. I think ON was let's see, day two as well curled. ON was another one of our day two setups right here, 72. We were already trading DJT. So yeah, so those are our day two, day three setups, and so overall a successful day in the community. Nice green day. Most traders were trading SPY, QQQ, AMD, CDNS, DJT, Google. Those were our big plays in the community. But anyways, it's earnings season. Hopefully you guys learned something today and you can implement it tomorrow. By the way, we are doing a Halloween promotion. If you want to trade our community, join us. Do not come for the alerts, come for guidance and the best trading community out there. Thank you so much.